Oh no, not again. Another death metal band that likes to talk about space. Hey, what's good, everyone? It's your boy, Matt Diazbo, coming at you with some new music reviews again and again and again. We keep it rolling here. Thank you for coming on by. If you just found me, thank you. Like, subscribe, comment. I know all us YouTubers do that stuff, but we got to do it. Got to play the game. I'm working my butt off. But yeah, thank you for coming by and finding my channel. Today, I am reviewing the latest album from a band called Fallujah with their latest album called Xenotaph. Xenotaph? I think that's how you say it. If you're just discovering who this band is, Fallujah is a San Francisco tech death metal band that's been around since about 2007. They've been putting in a lot of work in the past 10-15 years as a band, touring like crazy, making I think this is like their fourth album. They've been constantly making music and been grinding really hard, because I remember seeing this band back in like 2007-8 when I was first getting into shows, and I saw they were like signed to a label called Media Scare back in the day with some other like metalcore, hardcore bands. And I remember seeing that band name. I was like, I think that's a city in like Iraq or something like that. I know it's a city in the Middle East. I was like, oh, interesting band name. But I never checked them out because I don't know, they didn't seem too like different from what I was hearing in terms of death metal and other bands. And also I wasn't too into death metal at that time, I think. So the name alone and everything about the band just didn't seem too compelling. So I'm really happy that, with my channel and everything, I don't look at that stuff. Whatever artist comes my way, I will review. Always down to review. So that's my introduction to this band. And like I said before, this album seems like a bit of a concept album. Space, death metal. I just talked about a band like that. I'll link it in the bio, and after this you can check it out. They're an Italian death metal band. So it's funny how these two reviews are going back to back. And with Fallujah's newest album, Xenotaph, it's a very ambitious and sprawling record that leans into atmosphere as much as it does technicality. From what I've learned about this band, they seem to be a very grand and very cinematic band, and I can say their signature blend of that cinematic soundscape is very present here. They're known for like having very virtuosic playing and shifting the moods of their sounds a lot when making music. And I feel like this album is a balance between beauty and brutality, but at the same time quite refined, but also having a lot of inconsistencies as well. The opening song, In Stars We Drown, sets the tone by having some slow, spacey crawl with soft guitars and airy, clean vocals that feel very dreamlike before giving way to bursts of muted tech death riffing. It's beautifully paced and quite cinematic, but the intensity doesn't really fully arrive until the bass finally cuts through, grounding what otherwise feels a bit too clean and restrained when it comes to like the other members of the band playing. And there's a theme here that just keeps reoccurring, and that is, moments of brilliance occasionally held back by some overly polished production. It happens throughout this whole record. Then you have the song Kaleidoscopic Waves, where it shows Fallujah at their most technically dazzling kind of playing, because here you get some really explosive drum rolls and some furious double kicks. And the song really shines when the riffs go full throttle chugging, and the clean vocals have a dark and rich feel to them, which really like beautifully contrasts with all the chaos around them. Yet, as with other tracks, including this one, the bass feels a little bit thin in the mix, so leaving some of the heaviest moments on the record feel kind of like, oddly underweighted. But when the band kind of embraces gritty kind of playing, this is where things pay off hugely. Labyrinth of Stone kind of benefits from thrashier touches, giving the unclean vocals a bit of a, I guess you could say, more of a bite to them. And the clean vocals, they have, again, more of like an emotional core to them that just carries the song very nicely. So by the time we reach the crystalline veil, the mix of ambient textures, synths, and heavier bass presence really helps the band find a sweet spot between their ethereal tendencies and their aggressive edge. So as I was listening to it, I was thinking, oh, this totally sounds like early 2010s deathcore, and not surprised because that's when the band kind of like emerged in the scene. but also emerging modern prog metal softness, layered with some really impressive drum fills and some of the most engaging guitar work on the entire album. And then we get to the longer centerpiece song here, Step Through the Portal and Breathe, where it encapsulates Fallujah's strengths and weaknesses all in one song. Because it has a very soaring and epic introduction with some really tight technical riffing and massive unclean vocals. But also moments of where like the bass feels like it's lacking, so it feels like the song can be quite hollow at times. But it has a lot of variety and adventurous structure to it, so I gotta say, I gotta give it respect. They're doing a lot of work here to make themselves sound different from other bands. But I gotta say also, not every experimentation kind of lands. A prime example of that is the song Parasitic Dream, where it feels more like a fragmented sketch than an actually fully fleshed out song. Because they got some really distant vocals here and some really jarring shifts in the music that just undercut its overall potential in terms of atmosphere. Thankfully, the following song, The Obsidian Architect, really brings things back with a far more cohesive and commanding presence. Because it's got some really djenty style riffs, alien-like vocal effects, and hard-hitting drums to create one of the most memorable moments and possibly most innovative songs on the record. Closing song, Xenotaph, is like a accumulation of everything the band is trying to attempt on this record. Blistering riffs, a bass that can finally be heard, and precision yet groovy drumming. Even when the song kind of veers into standard tech death style of playing, the track still feels very fully realized and fully fleshed out, and it feels like a fitting final statement to this record. To put it simply, this album, Xenotaph, is a record of contrast. Lush, cinematic, clean vocals versus some buried, harsh vocals. Breathtaking technicality versus production that's almost too polished. Moments of staggering cohesion versus, passages that feel a little bit undercooked. There's a lot of back and forth on this record. Yet, Fallujah still remain masters of weaving atmosphere and technical death metal from the scene and from their peers. But here, their like celestial vision sometimes outpaces the raw punch that they need to really fully make these songs feel very fleshed out and just resonate. Still, when they strike the right balance, like on the Obsidian Architect or the Crystalline Veil, they remind us why they are probably one of the most distinctive voices in the tech death and death metal scene, because they can, when they hit hard and really precise, they can make some pretty impressive stuff. And I'm a first-time listener, so I feel like, they've put in the work. They've been trying to get their name out there, which they have, and I think it's well-deserved. And so this latest album from Fallujah, Xenotaph, hope I've been saying it right, I would have to give it a good and decent 7 out of 10. Links down below. Tell me what you think about this album, what other space trippy bands I should check out. And until next time, guys, see you in the pit.